Real esoteric spirituality without all of the fluff, without all of the nonsense. This is the thunderwizard.com YouTube channel. Click subscribe and then hit the little bell button so that you can be notified whenever I've uploaded a video or when I'm doing the live Q&A videos. Hello, my friends, fellow Thunder Wizards. So today I'm going to continue with the love series. And, I have to say, again, I may have said it last time earlier, but, having been practicing and studying spiritual things and esoteric spiritual things and spiritual power and magic and all that good stuff, the end result is that nothing is more fulfilling than love. It's just, and I would even go so far as to say that even people who are seeking power, even people who want to become an immortal or want to rule the world or want to, achieve enlightenment, especially if people are desperate to achieve enlightenment, I would say that what they really want is love. Now, I don't have a problem with however you get it. You go after power, go after enlightenment, go after magic. I don't care. I did, a lot of those things. So you can still find that fulfillment of love either through the universe or through another person. And again, let me reemphasize that when it comes to achieving your potential as a human, now notice I'm choosing my words very carefully. I'm not now saying in order to achieve enlightenment. I'm saying in order to achieve your potential, your highest potential as a human, which may include enlightenment, there are two extreme pathways, and you are going to be on one of these extremes, somewhere in the spectrum there. One is you, by yourself, connect directly to the universe, and the universe becomes your spouse. And as your spouse, as your perfect spouse with no agenda and unconditional love, the universe reflects back to you all of not only your falsehoods, the false aspects of yourself that are taking you nowhere, and also the true, infinite, divine power within. And so the end result is that by listening to that and going through the travails of releasing your limited illusions of yourself because of the love that the universe is reflecting to you, you rise to your highest potential. And you achieve feeling fulfilled from being loved. That's one extreme. The other extreme is you find it with, notice, listen to my words very carefully, you find it with another person. Not in another person, but with another person. Nobody will ever fix you. Sometimes they can come pretty damn close, I'll be honest. I won't lie. I mean, I have experienced what it's like to have what I believe to be the perfect connection, and it came pretty damn close to feeling fixed and perfect, but nobody can fix you. The reason why it felt so amazing and wonderful, which I will explain and have explained, is that I was able to see my true self in somebody else's eyes, and they were so important to me that I just naturally lifted myself up to the vibration that they were revealing to me that who I was, because it gave them pleasure. It gave her pleasure to see me rise up to that. I could go on that for a long time, but I won't. What I'm here to talk about is, for men, what is it that women want? How to get a woman. So you see in the title there, the subtitle is How to Get a Girl, right? So how to get a girl. And I put that there for a reason, because a few years ago, I wrote a book called How to Keep a Man. You can go on my website, michaelwilliamdenny.com, and you can look for it there, How to Keep a Man. And I was originally going to write a book about communication. And it was for women because this was my experience. This was a time I had just gotten out of my divorce. I was only a year maybe out of my divorce. And I was thinking about all of the frustrations that I had in our communications. And I was going over, I was starting to date, and it was just so frustrating because the communication was, ugh. And I was thinking about all of the communication issues I had had throughout my life with women. So I wrote this book, as I always do, because I just had to get it out. I did, and now it hasn't been a huge bestseller or anything like that, but again, my partner read it and loved it. She said, thank you so much, it's taught me so much. And she said, thank you, it helps me to raise my two boys, because I use the same techniques to raise my two boys. So maybe I should change the title about how to raise boys, I don't know. But when I was doing the research for that book, I wanted, because I'm not a best-selling author yet, I wanted to write a title that would be easily searched, because I know that people find things by going onto the internet and typing things into Google. And if they're looking for a book on communication, they'll type in what they're looking for. So I wanted to find the title that was going to grab the most attention. And so I was shocked at what I found. What I expected to find was something along the lines of, how can I communicate with my man? How to communicate with your man? Something like that. And that's not what came up. The most popular search term for women looking for men was how to please a man. I was shocked. Now, looking back on it, it's so simple. Why the hell didn't I think of that? But it's because, from a male perspective, maybe this is just the way I think, and I don't know. And I got to be honest, it's gotten me in a lot of trouble because I sometimes am so naive. In fact, it just recently happened. Anyway, a woman made it evident to me that she wanted me to ask her out, and I totally missed it. The hint just flew right by me. And it wasn't until 2 days later that I went, holy crap, she was asking me to ask her out. So, listen, ladies, we men can be really stupid sometimes. You just have to know that. Sometimes you have to just come straight out. And I appreciate that. I appreciate when women can just come straight out with what they want. But what shocked me was because, from my perspective, I'm acutely aware of how women are being objectified, and how, in recent history, meaning the past few hundred years at least, maybe the past 1,000 years, women have been seen as servants, and, all of that. And, I've certainly heard more than once from a woman, I don't want to be treated like an object. I'm not here to please you. I'm a person, and I have I want to be loved for who I am and my personality. So, I go out of my way to and maybe I should play the game more, but I go out of my way to try and do that because that's what I would want. I get it. So, of course, why would a woman want to be seen as a pleasure machine for a man? Why would, But that's the most popular search term, at least, 2-3 years ago. How to please a man. Now, I couldn't bring myself to write a book about how to please a man. I actually started to write it, and it became so, sexualized, and it became, it basically said, yes, if you really want all the male attention possible, then turn yourself into a sexual object. And, just doing the search for this video, I always look for, little photograph memes to put in the beginning, right, for the title. And all I did, all I did was type in girl kissing man or something like that, or girl flirting with man, and all of these pornographic, like hardcore pornographic images came up. It was just like, holy crap. I get it. Porn is easy to find. So, but why is just a basic search term like that, turn into anal sex or something? It's just, anyway, point is that we've turned into this society where we objectify everything, and women are no exception. Anyway, I don't want to start a commentary on that. But I was shocked. How to please a man? That's what they want most, how to please a man? So I chose the second one, which was how to keep a man. And so I used that as the title, and it works because I really am teaching you how to keep a man by learning how to communicate. But here's the point I want to make about this. Because as you know, everything is psychological projection. If you don't know what I mean by psychological projection, please Google it. Psychological projection. Psychological projection says that that we project onto others our own experience, our own unconscious, sometimes experience of ourselves. Here's an example. If somebody is cheating on you, they are going to be the ones who are wanting to look at your phone and see who you're texting and who you're talking to and who are you with. They're projecting their own guilt. They feel guilty about their cheating. Even if they're not actually cheating, maybe they just want to cheat. Maybe they feel guilty about having thoughts about other women. I mean, it could just be as simple as that. They feel guilty about their own thoughts, and so they're insecure because they don't feel like they're on an unconscious level that they're dependable, so they're going to want to look at your phone. Now, not everybody who looks at your phone is cheating on you, but that is an example. Cheaters will do that. They will project onto you that you're cheating on them. Perfect example, the mafioso who's married and has, 3 or 4 mistresses, but each one of those mistresses better not be cheating on him. It's just we all do this. It's called psychological projection. So these search terms are everybody else's projection. Now I wrote on here how to get a girl. And I wrote that on there because that was the man's most popular response, which isn't how to find a wife or how to find love. It's how to get a girl or how to get a woman. And so I'd like to see this experiment if the sexes switched their approach to dating to the other person's projection, because it'll tell you what they want. And again, it's about how to grab them, how to get them. So I'm going to share with you from not only my experience, but from this, what women are looking for. Now, bear in mind, everybody's unique, and we are on a spectrum. So I'm talking about the generalization, the stereotypical generalization of the feminine. You could be anywhere in that, so please don't get your panties in a bunch. I'm just talking generally, how men and women function. So, okay, so I'm starting to babble, so let me get onto my notes here. So, all right, so the search term is how to please a man. That's a woman's most popular search term because her thinking process is that she wants to find a man who she can, or if there's a man that she's interested in, how can she get him to be with her? So her reflex response is, I should please him. Now, what does that tell you? It tells you that that's what she wants for herself, because that's what we do. We project onto others what we want for ourselves. And usually what we do, unless we're seeking to manipulate, which is a whole other thing, both sexes do that. If we're seeking to create a relationship and get somebody to fall in love with us, we're going to project onto them what we want for ourselves. So what is it that women want? Women want to be pleased. So first off, just listen to your own response, guys. What is your first response to that? Does that excite you? It excites me. I love that idea. I love the idea of having a woman look at me with that look of I am pleasing her. I don't care what it is. Not just sexually, but not that I go out of my way to conform to what, I don't do that. I just enjoy that. I enjoy that look in their eyes. It's just the most, I just love that. So the thought of pleasing a woman makes me very happy. I love that idea. But if you hear that and you hear, my job isn't to go around and please her, then we're dealing with some other unconscious issue that's definitely getting in your way. So just listen to your reaction about that. And to the MGTOW boys out there who really need to cinch up their nutsack, there are good and bad women out there. And, I know people, I have, my family members and friends. I just got off the phone with somebody yesterday, and he's not to the extreme, but he still has this same response that women are only after your money. And, how if you have the money to take care of them, and, there are gold diggers out there, and there are women who are looking for security and looking for a man who can provide and give them children along with everything else. But there are women out there that don't care about that. I mean, it's just never been an issue for me. I've never been I can't think of, most of the time, women have never complained to me that it was my job to financially support them. They wanted a bunch of other things. So if that's what your experience is and that's what you're attracting, that's your unconscious projection. And again, we attract what we unconsciously project. We seek it out. Actually, the truth is we seek it out. The video that I just recently did about manifestation, the big, long 22-minute, epic cinematic thing that I put together for manifestation. There's a quote on there from Jung, the psychologist, the famous psychologist, who says that, and I'm not doing it verbatim here, but you can watch it and you'll see it. He says that until until what's in your unconscious becomes conscious, it will determine your life, and you will think it is fate. Which means that you are creating it with your unconscious mind, and you have blinders on to only see what your unconscious mind is projecting, and you are clueless to everything else. So there will be women out there who want what you have to give them, and you will be completely clueless. You won't see them. You'll find them boring or unattractive. The ones that you find attractive are going to be the ones that are going to want to tear your guts out and have you for lunch. And then you're going to continue to justify your unconscious projection that only women want you for your money. And I can tell you absolutely, without a doubt, that has just never been my issue. In fact, sometimes it's been quite the opposite. I've been broke and in debt, and they still wanted me. So you can have that too. There's no reason why you can't have that. But what is it that women want? Women want to be pleased. Now, when I say to a man, being pleased, he's probably going to have a different initial reaction to what that means to him, as opposed to a woman. And if I may, since, obviously this has overtones of sexuality, why don't we talk about the act of lovemaking? So if we just take that same phrase and we apply it to lovemaking, what is it that a guy wants? I mean, what's the typical, the typical stereotypical, bare bones young guy's approach to sex? It's just boom and it's over. He's so filled with testosterone, it's driving him crazy. He needs to have a release, so he releases in 5 minutes and he falls asleep. Right? By the way, that's why older men are oftentimes, younger women will go after them, because they know that an older man will spend time on them, as opposed to a younger guy who's just, I know because I was one. I can remember. It was over like that. I remember. So if we just take that, a woman wants to have you spend time on her. Now, what is it that turns a guy on? Again, on the extreme, is the superficial. He looks at her body, and what he can do to her, and pleasure himself at her, on her, whatever. That's the stereotypical extreme. But what is it a woman fantasizes about? Most of the time. Again, everybody's different. But remember that song? And what was it, the 80s or the 70s? I want a man with a slow hand, I want a man with an easy touch, who will take his time, not come and go in a heated rush, right? That implies a connection. It implies more than just physical stimulation. It implies a connection. And it implies an unconscious entanglement. It implies listening. This is the big one. When before I came on and I meditated and I asked, what should I say? And the first thing that popped up was listen. Listen up. You've been lied to about the nature of the matrix. What if I told you that you could hack into the matrix? I've done it, and I can teach you how to do it. Click below to watch the free video that I put on my YouTube channel a few years ago that has since gone viral. I discovered that the matrix, like everything else in the universe, operates from certain rules. There are 5 rules that govern the matrix. And then there is one secret technique that, to my knowledge, nobody else has figured out, that allows you to hack into the matrix, understanding these 5 rules and using these 5 rules to control, manipulate, and change reality so that you can have exactly what you want out of life. Don't allow yourself to be deceived by the victim mentality that has been thrust upon you by everybody in the media and in modern society, in history, in religion. You have the power to hack into the matrix, to control your life, and have the life of your dreams. Click below, watch the free video, and then learn how you can do what I've been doing for myself over the past few years. And this is true in communication. Men are problem solvers. We are warriors. So when 2 guys are talking, on the battlefield, they have to come up with a solution very quickly or people will die. So they don't have time to talk about their feelings. If they're expressing things at the top of their lungs, it's a command to go do something. It is not listen to my feelings. The guy who says listen to my feelings is the first one that will be killed. He might even be killed by his own people because he's going to get them killed. Right? So when men and women are communicating and women are expressing emotion, it comes across to men lots of times as a crisis that needs to be resolved. How can I fix it? Stop yelling at me. I want to fix the problem. And so you feel that you're not being talked to. You're not being listened to. He's not listening to you. So same thing is true in the bedroom. Women want you to listen. Listen to what the hints that they're giving you. That's what they want, which means not only that's how they're wired, but that's what they're looking for in a relationship. Listen, sex is the unconscious expression. Sex is always an unconscious entanglement, always. That's why, like women will say, you can tell how a man's going to be in bed by the way he moves on the dance floor. I don't subscribe to that. Maybe it's true, I don't know, but it represents, she's saying, I can tell by how he moves his body, how he's going to react to me. And, dancing is, you listen to the partner, you're moving with the partner, and there's an intuitive communication. And so if a man is going to lead the woman in the dance, let's say, for example, he still has to listen to her and get the communication. If she wants him to lead her, she will give him that. So before I go any further, let me just say this. When we're talking about mutual interaction, I'm saying this because I'm trying to make a distinction between men who are abusive and force themselves. That's something else. I'm talking about actual romantic two-way interaction. The woman is the one that always makes the decision. Sorry, guys. You may look at her and think she's hot looking. I'll give you an example. I mean, there was a woman not too long ago that young. I mean, she was just stunningly. If I were to show you her photo, your jaw would drop on the floor. But I had zero attraction to her. And I think the reason for that is because on an unconscious level, she wasn't interested in me. Consciously, she thought, I fit the bill, spiritual teacher, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think on an unconscious level she was attracted to me. And so I didn't pick up anything from her. And I honestly felt nothing. I was, in fact, a little repelled by her. There was nothing wrong with her. There was just nothing there. But if you were to hand me her picture, I would have said, oh my God, she's my perfect type. So what happens energetically is that on an unconscious level, a woman makes a decision that she wants to connect to you on an unconscious level, and that message is sent out through her third eye. And you're the one that picks it up in the bar or whatever, and your eye goes, link, and she's not looking at you, and you go, oh my God, she's the one. But even if she isn't consciously seeing you there, she sent out the unconscious message. She sent out the unconscious invitation. So that again comes back to what you end up with. So anyway, I need to get back on focus here because I'm starting to babble again. So everything is projection. So how to please a man means a woman wants to be pleased, means that she wants to be pleasured. She wants you to, and I'm not just talking about sex, I'm talking about in general. She wants pleasure from you. She wants you to get to know who she is, how she works. This represents, by the way, this assumes something, a theme here. This assumes taking time. It assumes patience. It assumes listening, all of which are included in what we would call a committed effort. It means you're not just looking for right now. You are looking for how to put time and effort into creating and maintaining something. That is all assumed in this. Again, I'm not saying that there are women out there who aren't looking for one-night stands, but even if they are looking for one-night stands, consciously, on an unconscious level, they still want to be treated on all these different levels. They want to feel like in the moment. I'll give you an example. This is getting very personal, but I'll give you an example. When I was a young man, in my 20s, and a woman hit on me and basically threw herself at me and and one thing led to another very quickly, and it was, wham, bam, thank you, man, and all of that. And I didn't like how I felt. I didn't feel good about it. The truth is that I don't do one-night stands very well. I've had my share of them, but I really don't do them that well. I don't like them. And so I did, and I didn't like it. It was easy because she threw herself at me, and it was very clear what she was, what wanted to happen right then and there, and all of that. But I didn't feel good about it. And afterwards, I was saying, and stupidly, I said out loud something about, I shouldn't do this anymore. She goes, do what? And I said, have one-night stands. Or I think I said, just have empty sex. She said, we didn't have sex. We made love. She was very infuriated at me that, I didn't even know who she was. And within a matter of minutes, we had, had sex. And she wanted to underscore that it wasn't just sex, it was love. And I'm, I said something else, which I won't share, but it was just, what the hell are you talking about? Well, I was a stupid young guy. I didn't know what I know now, which is even if it turns out to be something that is heated in the moment right here and right now. I'm in Vegas. I want to, women do that too. Sorry, It's true. They still want the whole thing wrapped up in a package. A package that gives them the feeling that you are putting time and effort into investing in her, which still represents commitment and time. She wants to have that experience for, an evening, that you and her are the only thing that exists, and that you are wanting to get to know her and all of that. So how to please a man from a man's perspective means, how to dress and the thing, and to do all the things I want you to do, and cook me dinner, and to do that, and then to that's not what she's thinking. She's thinking something totally different. She's thinking about taking the time, putting the effort in, and making her special. Making her be the only thing that exists in your world. She's the most amazing, wonderful, beautiful, mysterious goddess that you've ever experienced. So she projects that. She wants that, so she assumes unconsciously that that's what men want. So she asks, how can I please a man? Okay? Now let's go to the opposite one, which is, what do men want? The most searched after search term for men is how to get a woman, how to get a girl. They're not thinking in the long term. They're thinking about, how can I get her and be with her as fast as possible. I mean, even in the word, even in the phrase, how to get a woman, it implies immediate sex. It implies that. That's how men are built. And it tells you something. So I'm saying that the two sides should switch. That if you want to get a woman, you have to learn what it is she's projecting. And what she's projecting is she wants to be pleased. Pleasured is a better word, and I don't mean that just physically, but pleased doesn't mean I approve of you. It means that they feel. It's a feeling that they have, an experience of being, of being loved and seen as special and beautiful and worshipped. That gives them pleasure, to be known on a deep level. Women will say, if you really loved me, you'd just know. Now, of course, that's ridiculous. I can't tell you, I've said, listen, that's not going to happen. You want something, you got to tell me. Because if I'm not picking up on it, there's a good chance I'm not going to magically intuit it. But you got to tell me. But that's the fantasy, is that you will be able to intuit. That you will experience what's going on with her on an unconscious level, like the dance. And she won't have to say anything. She'll just project a feeling that you will pick up on, and then you will respond to it. It will look like it was your choice, when in reality it was her that instigated it through her intuitive connection with you. This is what dancing is all about. This is what sex is all about, unless she wants to be dominated and controlled, which is something else. But even that, you have to pick up on that. Most of the time, unless you're just a clueless, 25-year-old guy. You have to pick up on what they want, if they don't come out and tell you. And by the way, women, just as a footnote, it just saves everybody a lot of time if you just tell the guy what you want. We're going to appreciate it. Really. Just tell us. Most of the time we're stabbing in the dark. We don't know what the hell we're doing. Unless, there is that unconscious communication. So, when I talk about the rune Yera, the Yera rune, I used to talk about that rune in terms of relationships as meaning committed romantic relationship. I now have changed my view of that. That rune now means unconscious entanglement. Jung said, again, Jung, the psychologist, said something else which I agree with. He said that the unconscious mind, no matter who you are, will determine two things: your career and your marriage. Notice I said the word marriage. Now, I don't know what he meant, and I don't even know the exact quote. It was quoted to me. I'm repeating to you what I remember was quoted to me. But I remember that word, marriage. Marriage is not the same as dating. It's not the same as a one-night stand for everybody. Marriage is an unconscious entanglement. It means that you are choosing to entangle with the person on an unconscious level. And that's what creates a committed long-term relationship. The fusing of the unconscious identity with your partner. That can be good or bad. It can be bliss or it can be utter hell. But your experience will be that this is my fate. I am fated to be with you. Because remember what I said earlier, Jung says that if you do not make the unconscious conscious, then the unconscious will determine your life and you will think it is fate, meaning that you had nothing to do with it, it was thrust upon you. So, yeah, a lot of things I want to talk about, but I want to stay on topic here. So, all right, so women now, again, the second most important search term that women say is how to keep a man. It's not, that shocked me as well when I switched it over, because I realized men do not think like that when they're searching for a partner. If they have a partner, that's different. When they have a partner that they're falling in love with, they want to keep that woman. How do I keep her? But there's a whole other dynamic. I don't want to get into that. But how to keep a man, that tells you her projection is long term. There's no search term on the first few search terms for the women are looking for that says how to get a man. They know how to get a man. That's the easiest thing to do in the world. Just flash some sexual hint. Just offer them sex. That's it. You can get him easily just by offering him sex. It's the easiest thing to do. But that's not in their search term, because that's not what they're looking for. They're not looking to get you. They are looking to keep you. The first one says that their strategy of keeping you is by pleasing you. So they want to figure out how to please you on an unconscious level, not on a physical level. This is what they don't get. When they think, I want to please a man, they don't realize they're thinking on an unconscious level, and what a man hears is what you can do for me right this second to give me instant pleasure. That's how a man thinks. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. But how to keep a man, that also assumes long-term investment and commitment. They're looking for stability. There are stereotypes that we look for physically. Again, it's a stereotype. Everybody's different. The stereotype of the desirable man is he's tall and he has broad shoulders and a large chest, right? That's one of the first things, generally speaking, women are looking for. Why? Well, on a genetic level, it represents somebody who's going to be an effective hunter, because he's physically strong and capable, so he can provide. He'll be able to go out and hunt, which means that he is a good biological source for reproduction, because on a genetic level, our bodies are just looking to keep the species going. So that's, you think, oh my God, he's so that. But no, what's happening is your ovaries are saying, no, he will be a good genetic donor for continuing the species, so we're going to go after him. But on a psychological level, it represents stability, strength. So when I've done relationship counseling, there have been two responses that are said more often than any, and I've shared it with you before. What men will say is, I just want her to stop nagging me. That's their main complaint. Women will say, I just want to be able to depend on him. I just want him to know that he has my back. Back is, she uses that phrase because it represents psychologically him having a strong spine. Him having her back, meaning him having the commitment to follow through. He can withstand the rigors of the relationship. He can withstand it, and he will hold firm. Again, I'm using all of these same terms as what turns them on sexually as well. Being firm, long term, putting the time in it and staying firm for a long time. These are also what they want emotionally in a relationship. They want you to be firm and dependable. Hi, I'm Michael Denny of SpiritTao.com, and this is Celestial Negung Part 1. Celestial Negung means that this is power that is descending from heaven. And the idea is that we are all microcosms of the entire universe. You are the entire universe, and everything around you is simply the projection. You are looking within yourself. So when you look up into the stars at night, you're actually looking deep within your own body. When you look at the sun, the moon, the trees, the flowers, you're looking within yourself. This is Negung. And so what we're doing is we're simply releasing that infinity from within us. You are tapping into and releasing the power that is within our own body, our own cells, our own organs. So one of the reasons that I'm making this DVD is in the hope that the essence and the spirit of the teaching of the Shang Qing arts can be taught to the world at large, and it is my hope that the core essence of what the Shang Qing tradition is will continue to live and grow and evolve. As we move on into the Aquarian age, everything is changing. I don't need to tell you that. The entire world is changing, and what we are seeing now is that if people hold on to external things, they are very challenged in life. And those who are making the transition into the next phase that we are moving into in the world as we approach 2012, those who look within and find their source of strength from within, those are the people who are getting the most out of life and will make the transition into the next phase of evolution most comfortably. It is my belief that the Shang Qing tradition is one method whereby human beings can evolve into the next level of being in the most comfortable fashion and be able to take advantage of the rapid, energetic, mental, and spiritual changes that are going on in the world today. So these all represent time, investment of time. So even if, now here's an interesting scenario. I've never experienced this because, if I'm in a married, committed, exclusive relationship, I don't ever, the thought of cheating never enters my mind. I will never do it. Never. Unless that's something that she wants. I've come to find out some women actually want to have the whole, not the majority of them don't, but some of them want to have open relationships and it's whatever. But if I've made a commitment to be exclusive in a marriage or a committed relationship, that's it. Everything else is off the table. So I don't personally know this, but I've heard it, that, a guy with a wedding ring is really attractive. Now that doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, why would you be attracted to a married guy? But I, have done a lot of psychic readings, and the majority of them are women. And of those women, the women are wanting to ask about a man. They want to know, what is he thinking about me? What is he doing right now? What's going to happen with us? When is he going to, the majority of the questions are wanting me to give you psychic information on what the man, is thinking, or what's going to happen in your relationship. What is he doing? And of those, a large percentage, I would say the majority of them, were women who were either dating a married man, or she herself was married and was cheating with a married man. Now, on the surface, there is nothing about that says anything having to do with stability. And even as strange as that, those same women will say, is he seeing somebody else? I'm like, hang on a second. You're married and he's married, and you're worried if he's seeing somebody else. I've even had them ask me, is he with his wife right now? Did he make love with his wife last night? Like, that's his wife. Do you understand how crazy you sound right now? But it doesn't change anything. On an unconscious level, what they want is stability and commitment. Even if on a conscious level they think, I want to cheat. I want something in the short term. So even if you're looking to get a one-night stand, guys, you still have to unconsciously give them the message that you are dependable and that you will be there for them and that you are committed to their pleasure. Not just physical, but emotional pleasure. You're committed to that. So let's see, what else? So let's look at it again on a physical level. I was going to say, the wedding ring, the reason why men with a wedding ring are so attractive is because it shows that they're committed to somebody, that they have the ability to commit, and they have the ability to go out and provide. Especially if it's a guy on a business trip, it's going to be really attractive because he's successful and he can provide, all of that. Even women who seek men, even gold diggers, women who are seeking men for their money. Even let's go even, on a more base level. Even escorts, women who sell their bodies for money. What they are attracted to is the unconscious idea of a man who will be there and invest in her. Of course, there's all kinds of things going on, but the symbolism is still there. So that's why a guy with a wedding ring, and on dating sites, I've seen this more than a few times from women in their profiles. They will say, if they're older, if they're 40 or older, they will find it. In fact, some of them will say, I won't even consider you if you haven't been married before. Because then, in their mind, they've even said, because then that shows that you know how to commit. Now, of course, you know nothing about that. Just because a person was married doesn't mean anything. He could have been cheating on her the whole time. He could have, destroyed the marriage and been the worst husband in the world. So just because, but it's that symbol, the symbol that he had a ring on his finger which said that he was committed, and that symbol is important enough for some women that, because I always see that and I go, yeah, but they're not married. Something happened. The marriage fell apart. But that's enough for you? Anyway, again, we're all talking about just the symbols here. So let's again talk about the DNA. It's in our DNA. I've said this before that, about men, and I write this in the book, How to Keep a Man, that if you're with a guy and you're out in public and he is looking other women up and down, I'm going to say 75% of the time he has no idea he's doing it. Now, some men are jerks, and some men will just look you up and down without thinking twice about it. But most of the time, they're clueless that they're doing it. I know because I'm a man and I've been there. And you're talking about something, and it's just something that catches your eye. We don't notice a lot of things. consciously. We just don't. We're very tunnel visioned, and we're men. We're not that smart. I can tell you about, again, a number of times where, my now ex-wife, when we would go over to somebody's house and we walk in the front and whatever, and afterwards they say, "Didn't you like their foyer?" What? When you walked in, you remember they had the thing and the picture of the thing, and I'm like, I didn't even notice. I did not even notice. When did we walk through the front door? Well, and did you like what she was wearing? Was she wearing? I didn't notice what she was wearing. I'll even go so far as to say this. Even if a guy finds himself attracted to a woman physically, all he's going to know is that he found her attractive. He's probably going to remember what her body was like and maybe what her face and her eyes did. But, unless she's wearing something really outrageous, he's not even going to remember what she was wearing. So, did you like what she was wearing? I don't know. What was she wearing? I don't remember. I just remember that she had a nice face. That's the way most guys are. We just don't remember these things. So when a guy's sitting out and eating, on the strand at the beach or whatever, and a girl in a bikini walks by and he's talking to you about his day, and then we did this, and then the guy down the hall did something or other, and by the end of the day, he's not even aware that he just eyed some woman walking by. It's just instinctual. Now, I learned this early on. I learned that for me, I realized I didn't want to do to other people what would hurt me, and I realized that it would be hurtful to me if I was with a woman and she was looking at another man. So I have made the decision from very early on in my life that, if I'm with a woman, even if she's just my friend, and I don't care if the most beautiful woman is walking by, I do not look. I will keep my eyes straight ahead. Everything in me will be saying, "What? Look at that woman," but that's not what I'm here to do. Unless, there are some women that like to do that, and they'll like to girl watch with you, and then that makes it easy, because then you can both go, "Wow, look at her." So you got to know your partner, guys. You got to know how they respond. So that's because genetically, what's going on the DNA is that men produce millions of sperm. I don't know the exact quote, but it's like millions of sperm per second. I think a man has a sexual thought every 2.5 seconds. I don't know, some study said that. The testosterone in our brain and the sperm in our testes is constantly telling us to impregnate somebody. So when you're sitting there talking to the guy and he's looking at some girl and doesn't even know that he did it, it's just a physical reaction. You can't take it personally. It doesn't mean anything about you. I'm not saying it's, that it should be done. Like I said, I don't do it. I make an effort to not do it. But that's just the way we're built. Now, women, on the other hand, what's happening on the DNA level? Men produce millions of sperm every second for their entire life. They can still impregnate a woman into their 70s and 80s. Women have a shorter time frame to get pregnant, to create the species. It doesn't change. They can still be very sexual all the way up to the end of their life, but in terms of being able to reproduce, they have one egg per month for a fixed number of years, 40-something years, and that's it. So they are going to be physically programmed to look for somebody that is going to, they're not looking for a bunch of guys. They're looking for that one donor who's going to be able to create within them life, and then the broad shoulders and the big chest, and go out and bring the food to be able to raise, sustain that offspring. This is millions of years old. We can't change that. But that translates into what women want in relationship. They want somebody they can depend on, somebody who has their back. And anyway, so we get into that. So one of the strategies, again, if we want to just take it back to DNA, one of the strategies to have a man invest in you and create a family and be there and provide, one of the strategies is to get emotionally and unconsciously entangled with him. Now, on the one hand, if a girl's looking for a one-night stand, again, we're talking generally, then the bodybuilder walking through, or the stripper, the guy at the strip club, she's going to want to experience, maybe a sexual liaison with him, but she's not necessarily going to want a relationship with him, because that's not what he represents. He represents superficial, superficiality. She's not going to respect that. Why is it that the nerds end up with the hot models? Why do the Bill Gateses of the world end up with the supermodels? Because they have the ability to be there and to commit and to provide and to, listen, we can make all kinds of superficial judgments all you want, but this is unconscious psychology and biology working together. We can't ignore this. So one of the things, the strategy is, if you can find a man who is able and willing to listen and communicate on an emotional level. So again, guys, I can tell you from personal experience, when women say they want to be listened, listen to them. They also want to hear from you. And, the stereotype of the guy who comes home from work and he just puts down his briefcase and he, smokes his pipe and drinks, and I just want to read or just want to look at the news and go to bed and, give me my slippers and, I don't want to talk. And, that's going to end up causing a lot of strife, because he's not emotionally making himself available to her. She wants to get to know you. I want to know how your day was. I want to talk to you on an emotional level. So if a man is able to be vulnerable emotionally, that is going to signal to her the unconscious entanglement, which will mean he will stay and commit and provide. So part of pleasuring her is stimulating her emotionally. This is what cards and gifts, this is why, when it comes to guys, if you want to have sex with a guy, you don't need to do any foreplay. You just need to say, I'm horny, let's go do it. And he'll go, okay, let's go. But even married guys, if you want to have some fun that night, start with giving her a card the night before, giving her a card in the morning when assuming that she stays home, which is things are different now. Or when you both go off to work, give her a card with an I love you on it. She's going to spend all day looking at that and thinking about that. And it's going to stimulate her on an unconscious level and on an emotional level. Because what does that mean? It means that a guy who's able to be emotionally vulnerable, emotionally available, is the guy who wants to emotionally get entangled, unconsciously entangled, which means that he is committing for the long term, which means he's dependable. This is what turns them on. This is what is going to turn a woman on. Now, I have, astrologically speaking, I have Moon in the first house. I have Leo with Moon in the first house. So this makes me very connected to my emotions, which is why I'm an actor and a musician and all that other stuff, and why I'm so into analyzing emotions and psychology is because of this very reason. My Moon, which is my emotions, is in my first house. In my Vedic chart, by the way, talking Vedic chart, not Western. So that means my physical body, I experience my emotions physically as well. So that does end up working when it comes to women, because women are going to be attracted to that. My former partner, who's no longer with us, it was kind of, I had to learn how to listen to it at first, but she said, what really turns me on about you is that you're both masculine and feminine at the same time. I'm trying to figure out, how am I feminine? I don't feel feminine. In terms of my sexuality, I am as far on the heterosexual spectrum as I think is possible. That's how I'm built. So I don't feel like I'm feminine, but I think what she was saying was that I am able to emotionally, that I have a strong emotional connection, and I need that. I am like that. I mean, I'm that guy that needs to. In fact, I've been told by women. My ex-wife, for example, said, that I, I was too feminine, and that I always wanted to talk through my emotions, and I always wanted to talk emotionally and work through that, and that she didn't do that very well. But she was, on the other end of the spectrum. Most women are going to want that. It's going to turn them on. To be able for you to allow them to see you, to make yourself emotionally vulnerable to them. So that may take some training. Anyway, so now men, here's something really important to know about women. And this is probably, if there's one thing to take away from this video, it's what I'm going to tell you now. Women are absolutely essential for your success. I'm not saying you have to be married or even be in a relationship, but the feminine is absolutely essential to your overall success. So let's look at the stereotype. The stereotype of the man in love is that when the right woman comes along, he is going to feel that he can conquer the world. He's going to feel like he can do anything. He's going to want to grab the moon. If I could grab the moon and pull it down and give it to you, I would. I mean, there's a lot there. He wants to connect with her on the emotional level. That symbolism is very clear. But it also means that he is willing to do, that he is capable, because of you, woman. He is capable to achieve the impossible.
Okay, so be honest with me. You have tried practicing the law of attraction in your life. You have sat on the edge of your bed and you have focused on positive feelings and focused on bringing up good feelings about things that you want in your life, and you've had little or no results. If you're honest, in my experience, the majority of people who have really tried to use the law of attraction to manifest their dreams have been disappointed, and in some cases outright frustrated, and in some cases their lives got worse. Now there is an actual reason for that, and that is because the law of attraction actually doesn't work unless it is combined with the law of manifestation. And sadly, most of the law of attraction teachers out there, many of them well-intentioned, are only giving half of the recipe for being successful when it comes to intending and manifesting your life. My name is Michael William Denny of the ThunderWizard.com YouTube channel. And just like you, years ago, I tried sitting on the edge of my bed and focusing on positive feelings. I tried to keep myself in a positive state of mind, and very little happened. And as a result, it was very hard for me to keep those positive feelings coming. And then I was told that, well, you have negative things in your life because you're focusing on too many negative things. But the problem was I couldn't turn my negative feelings off. But here's something that I've learned, and this is incredibly important. I want you to listen to this. You don't have to monitor your feelings. You can have all kinds of negative feelings. You can have sadness, you can have fear, you can have resentment, all of these so-called negative feelings that are supposed to bring you all kinds of negative things. You can have these feelings, and if you know how to practice the law of manifestation, it doesn't matter how you feel. And that to me was so liberating. Because listen, there's a lot of people out there feeling guilty and feeling unspiritual because they do have less than perfect feelings. And when things aren't manifesting the way they want, guess what happens? Naturally, you have negative feelings coming up. And if you've been told that your negative feelings will bring negative things, then you are then filled in with this feeling of guilt and shame, and then you go into this cycle of guilt and shame, and you can never get out of it. And it doesn't matter how many seminars you go to, or how many books you read, or how many videos you watch of people telling you if you focus on positive things will happen. None of that matters, because now you're filled with all of these negative feelings, and then you're afraid to take any action, and then nothing happens in your life. So I'm here to free you from all of that. It doesn't matter how you feel. The only thing that matters is, do you know how to properly intend? And that is what the law of manifestation is. When you combine that, then guess what happens? You start to have some positive feelings come back into your life, and then guess what happens? Then you can merge the law of attraction, because you can take those positive feelings and you can merge it with the law of manifestation, and you can focus that energy into your intentions. And then, in my experience, the law of attraction and the law of manifestation works every time. It has worked for me. I'm sitting here in front of my house. I'm not kidding you. My house is right over there. And I simply walked out of the front door of my house this morning and decided to make a video and tell you my experience of the law of manifestation and the law of attraction. So, if you want to get started, click the link and go to thunderwizard.com and look for the Manifestation Mastery course and click on that to get started.
Now, here's a tip for you. Even if a woman is nagging you, even if she's nagging you, there will be a message in there, if you can hear it, that will have your success in it. I'm not saying you should stay with a woman who nags you. I'm not saying that. In fact, I'm saying you should probably walk away from that. I wouldn't. But remember the two biggest complaints. A man says, I just wish she would stop nagging me. And she says, I wish I could depend on him. Now, when a woman is nagging, when she's criticizing, even if she's doing it because she's an evil, wrong, ball-busting bitch, it doesn't change the fact that it's still coming from that same place of wanting to find a man that she can lift up. Now, maybe she hasn't been trained to do that. Maybe she's gone through, trauma as a kid or dysfunction. Maybe she's really screwed up. Maybe she's just really immature and superficial. It won't change the fact that she's going to respond from the feminine. And the feminine can't help herself. She has to give the masculine information that he needs to rise to his highest potential. So even if she is cutting your nuts off with a criticism, if you're able to hear it, there will be some extremely valuable information in there. Now, it takes a lot to do that. The ideal is to get it from the feminine that is able to solicit that. Now, the other extreme, the one extreme is she's criticizing you and chopping your nuts off and disempowering you, which she can. There is, by the way, I've shared this before, but you can do this. You can muscle test a guy. Get the wimpiest guy, if there's a crowd of guys, get the wimpiest, nerdiest guy, bring him up. Get some super hot model chick and bring her up and have her just hold on to his ankle. And then you whisper in her ear, okay, now imagine he is the most amazing, sexually happening, successful guy you've ever met. Just imagine that. And then you go and you have the guy put his arm out. You just muscle test him. If she's saying that, you won't be able to move his arm. I don't care if he's a 78-pound weakling, because she is energetically empowering him. Now you take that same, you could make it completely opposite, get the biggest, most successful, muscular, handsome guy, put him up there, and get maybe the same woman, hold on to his ankle, and this time say, now imagine that he is the laziest, most undependable piece of crap she's not doing anything, she's just holding on to his ankle. Go and muscle test him, his arm is going to go down every time. No matter how strong he is, he won't be able to hold his arm up. Because we need that feminine power. We need it. And you're either going to find it in the universe, or you're going to find it in another woman. And really, you're not finding it in her, she's just revealing it to you. The ideal woman is the mother. And unfortunately, ladies, all men are looking for their mother. Sorry, but it's just a fact. And what does the mother do? The mother is the only being in the universe that loves unconditionally. When she looks into the face of her child, her infant, and the love that she has reflects no agenda. She is seeking to bring out the best in that child. She intuitively wants to find out their essence and bring it and nurture it. Now, of course, not all women can do that. A lot of human women have problems and challenges and limitations, and some of them are not the best mothers in the world. But that is the ideal. And that is what we seek from the goddess. When we worship the goddess brings that to us. The goddess brings us that unconditional nurturing, I see you for your highest potential, and I see nothing else. I only see what's best in you, and I want to bring that out. That is the mother. And that is what all men are wanting. They want the mother. They want the goddess that will float down out of the sky and reflect back to them, even on a sexual level. Even in sex, that's what they want. Unless, of course, they've got other problems, which, that's another discussion. So, what was I saying? So your Shakti will tell you everything. And I'll give you an example in my life. I probably shared it, but I'll share it again. In my marriage, that failed. My marriage experiment. I shouldn't say it failed, because it brought me here and I learned a lot from it. So maybe I shouldn't use that word. But the marriage that ended in divorce, that was painful and challenging and was not ultimately leading me to my highest potential. Towards the end, I remember her coming at me and telling me that I wasn't making enough money and I wasn't doing enough. And of course, from my perspective, I was doing, twice the share of any normal guy. And so it was very hard for me to hear that. But she said, I need you to be self-sufficient and make yourself happy. Meaning, I want you to go make more money so that you can go give yourself the things that you want, because I don't want to feel guilty because I'm not giving you enough. And that's a quote. And I heard that and I went, holy crap, what the hell am I doing here? But that was Shakti talking to me. That was the goddess telling me, your ideal scenario is to be being fully empowered with yourself, being happy within yourself, and that is where you're going to get your abundance. What I was doing was I was martyring myself to take care of this demanding woman who wanted to control me and keep me in a box, and I was never good enough. So even in her ball-busting criticism, which on her conscious level, she wanted me to keep getting more money and giving it to her, the universe came through and said, I need you to be more self-sufficient so you can make yourself happy. So even if you're with a woman that is just cutting you to shreds, if you listen, there will be a message in there that will show you where to go. Now, bear in mind, if you are with a ball-busting woman who is tearing you to shreds and cutting your legs off, it is because you projected her and you found her so that you could experience your unconscious, unresolved issues. Which is why the MGTOW guys, when I hear the MGTOW guys going off about women only want this and women only want that, then that's what you're going to get. So drop that shit, guys. Be a man. Because I am telling you that there is nothing like the love of a woman. There's nothing like it. And there is no shortage of women out there who are looking to love a guy, really just love him for who he is. Everybody's got their own problems. But, all the horror stories that I've heard, I've almost never experienced that. I had a marriage that didn't quite go the way I wanted, but the truth is, before that marriage and after that marriage, women have just made me feel so tremendously wonderful that makes me want to worship them. And I do. Now when I see women everywhere, whether they're, grandmothers, I want to say, hi grandma, and help you across the street, and I want to, show my appreciation to the feminine as the grandmother. If they're little girls, then I want to, empower them to be the best women they can be. If they're women, adult women that I'm attracted to, then I want to worship them. Literally worship them as the goddess and bring the goddess out in them and see them, So that's the experience that comes from having experienced true love. And once that gets unlocked in you, then I'm telling you, you're not going to have a problem finding women. Because once, women can sense when men can too, but women especially can sense intuitively what's going on under the surface there. And, if you're a MGTOW who thinks he has to go out and learn how to do whatever the hell that's called, where you go to a bar and you insult a woman so you can take her home and sleep with her. I mean, yeah, that's going to last for a few hours and that's about it. But, if that love has been unlocked within you, they're going to see it. They're going to smell it. They're going to know it. And they're going to come looking for it. You don't even have to try. They will come looking for you. They will find you. And so I was going to say something here. I had something very profound to say, and I'm trying to remember what it was. So ultimately, it does come down to that. So here are the two choices. Here's what I'll end the video with. The ultimate ideal for relationship is, again, you find somebody with whom you can take the journey of your own self-discovery. That's true for both sexes. That's what a relationship is. A relationship is not make me feel good. You may get all that, make me happy and all that. Like I said, when I look at a woman I want to be with, my desire is to worship them and bring the goddess out within them and see that look of joy on their face, that they're, happy and feeling pleased and, loved and all that. That's just what I'm looking for. But that came as a result of going through that bad marriage where I lived out my unconscious, unresolved issues with my mother and women. And so, again, we have two extreme choices. One is you create the screwed up relationship that represents your unresolved issues. If your mother, abused you or didn't love you enough or abandoned you or, whatever, you're going to seek that out. You're going to find some woman who's going to do that to you. I did. I married my mother. My ex-wife was the worst of my mother. So I worked through, hopefully, all of it, but I worked through a lot of it. And now I don't have to replay that again. And it set me up for, the one relationship I've had so far, which I feel was the truest love I've ever experienced. I can't imagine anything more true than that. I'm open to find something even deeper and more fulfilling than that, and I believe it's out there. And I believe it is my destiny. Hold me to it, but I believe it's my destiny. I will find that again. So your two choices are: you can keep replaying the unresolved things that you didn't get as a kid. And what will happen is, this is why you create them. Why do we keep, if you're a MGTOW who thinks that women are out to steal from you and just take your money and take your sperm and, all that, and you keep attracting women like that, it's because you haven't resolved that issue. And if you don't resolve it, if you don't face it, then you're going to keep manifesting it, because what's happening is you're trying to fix it. So you remanifest that same problem relationship you had with your mother, and you're trying to fix it this time, but it doesn't work. And so you're responding from your fear, you're not looking at yourself, and as a result, you just keep attracting the same thing over and over again. And that's true for men and women, it's the same thing. So you can either do it that way, or you can do it through meditation, through spiritual work, through psychoanalysis, through working with a teacher, with a mentor. You can take a look at what your unconscious issues are and get honest about them and face them and heal yourself and get yourself to the new level. Or you can do what most humans have to do, which as I did, which is you have to at least create one relationship that represents all the screwed up stuff in you. And then instead of getting trapped in the cycle of continuously recreating that, you use that as a way to go, okay, let me take a look at me. And how did I end up here? How did I end up with this relationship? And I shared with you last time how what saved me was that in my marriage, I became aware that I was not fully committed on an emotional level. And that was the dynamic. My dynamic was I wanted unconsciously to attract somebody who would not be there for me sexually or, because my mother abandoned me emotionally. I was looking for that as well, and I recreated that. Her issue was different. Her issue was her dad left when she was a little kid. So her issue was abandonment. So because I was not unconsciously committed, even though I was exclusive with her, I wasn't really committed to the marriage. I was always out of reach in her mind. And so that kept her with me because she always felt she had to keep chasing after me. But once I turned around and I said, you know what? And I didn't sell her this was just internally. I said, I'm in this for life. I am committed. She's the one for the rest of my life. She deserves all of my energy. I'm going to give it to her. End of story. She flipped out and destroyed the relationship because she wasn't ready for that. She thought that's what she wanted, but she wasn't ready for it. So, that is what saved me because I faced it. I faced in myself where I was trying to get something for nothing. And when you can get to that and work through that, then that puts you in a position, if we want to talk about the law of attraction, to vibrate on a level that will bring you what you want. And it's no coincidence that, just how many years? 2 years, 2.5 years after that, I met the love of my life and have had the most amazing. And because of that, what she did with me and to me has now got me to this position where I don't have that bucket list to check off. Like, I got to find somebody who will really love me for who I am. I've had that, and I take it with me everywhere I go. And now I have this freedom to look around. Where is a goddess who wants to be worshipped? I just want to see that look on your face of just absolute feeling pleasured and happy and loved. I want to see that. I want you to look at me with those eyes of feeling so happy and loved. That's all I'm looking for. Whatever I got to do to get that, that's what I want. That came from her. But it's because I had to work through it, through a bad relationship, which I then acknowledged myself, and then I attracted what I want. So who knows? If that's true and the scale keeps progressing, that means the next one's going to be even more amazing than I can imagine. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's my babbling for this week about love. Go to courses.thunderwizard.com to see everything that I'm doing. And if you want to get that book, How to Keep a Man, we'll talk about that. The next one, we'll talk more about ladies. How can you communicate with men? What's really going on with communication? I'll talk maybe more how men can communicate better with women, what they really want, how they hear things, what's the best way to communicate. You can go on to courses.thunderwizard.com and click on the books link, and you can find my books. The best way to support this channel is to go to thunderwizard.com and subscribe at whatever level you want. I recommend subscribing at the Manifestation Mastery course level. And let me just address something here. This is nothing new. This has been said forever. It will always be said as new people come on. People say all the time, when I get the money, I will. And that's not how the universe works. If you're waiting around for the universe to come and give you resources to go get something that you want, it will never happen. You have to start from the assumption that the universe wants to make you happy, that the universe wants to give you what you need. If you find something in the universe that gives you joy, the thought of having that gives you joy, it means you have the right to go and get it. But the universe sits there with a blank check waiting for you to go get what you know you deserve. And until you do that, it can't write the check. So if you're sitting around going, I want to take Mike's courses and I want to study with that and I want to subscribe, but I want to wait till I have the money, the universe is like going, the money's right here, go get it. And if you go get it, I'll give you the money. It's like having an account. It's like having an expense account. Your boss will reimburse you. If you go spend on something, I'll reimburse you for the miles that you drove. That's how the universe works. So if you're sitting here listening to me and you complain about everything costs money, stop complaining. Go get it. $50 a month. $50 a month is, if you're not working with me personally, will get you everything on that channel. I mean, you spend a hell of a lot more money on that on freaking whatever, donuts or something, coffee. What is that? What is a coffee? It's $1. You're spending $30 a month on coffee every day. Every time you go into Starbucks, you get a latte, it's going to be more than that. So please stop whining to me about having to pay $25 or $50 for something you really want. Now, if it's not something you want, you're not going to hurt my feelings or, go do whatever you need to do. But if you really want something, if you think that what I have and that the courses that I provide for a fee or for a subscription, if you think that that's valuable to you, go get it. If you don't like it after a month, you can unsubscribe. What have you lost? $50, $25 if you come in at the... So listen, it's hard for me to have compassion for people who give me those messages like, well, when I get the money, everything costs. You're investing in yourself. Now, for me, this is the best way for you to support this channel so I can just do these videos. And that's all I want to do. That's my goal. My goal is just to wake up every day and to teach you for free like I'm doing right now about all of this stuff. I can do that. That's what all the other stuff is there for. All the other stuff is there to fuel me to be able to do this. So if you want to support the channel, that's the way to do it. And hopefully you hear the message. The message is, if you want something from life, you're going to have to assume that you deserve it and then go invest in it. And the universe will respond. If you don't believe that you deserve it, then you're going to say things like, well, when I get the money, I'll go do it. Whenever somebody says, when I get the money, when I can afford it, What they're saying is, the unconscious message to the universe is, I don't deserve to have what I want, so don't give it to me. I'm just telling you, that's just the fact. I don't care if you buy something from me or not. Go live your life with that reality, because that's the freaking truth. Matrix.thunderwizard.com. Watch that video if you want to learn more about that. All right. That's it for me today, my friends. I will see you next time, and we'll talk more about how to get the most out of your love life. Okay, talk to you later.